Back here on Fox Weather, when Hurricane Milton hit Florida 1 year ago, wind, flooding, and tornadoes left widespread damage, impacting not just people, but pets too. Trooper was found abandoned in rising floodwaters. He's since been adopted by a family in Parkland and now has a loving home. His story inspired Trooper's Law, which would make abandoning an animal during a natural disaster a felony. And here to share Trooper's story, a member of his newfound family, Frank Spina. Frank, and we've got Trooper joining us as well. Thank you for coming on to Fox Weather. We're reflecting 1 year since Milton, and of course, this is 1 year of Trooper joining your family. Tell us about that story and Trooper's story, how you got in touch with the rescue.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Me and my wife had seen the video of Trooper sitting on the side of the road up to his neck in standing water. We saw Trooper Morales saving him, cutting him from the pole he was tied to and saving him. We contacted the rescue immediately. At that time, it was in Hillsborough County, right outside Tampa.
Oh, I think we just lost you, Frank. Oh, we've got you back now.
I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah, it was up in Tampa at the time, and we tried calling the Hillsborough County Humane Society, but the weather was ravishing the area, so they were basically closed. They were shut in place. And we found out within a week or two that they had transported Trooper. It's okay, I love you too, buddy. They transported him to the Leon County Humane Society up in Tallahassee. So we began contacting them, emailing them, sending them text messages, phone messages, and basically pestering them. Me and my wife had made up our minds that we were going to save Trooper. Eventually, a couple of weeks later, after the storm had gone and Trooper was basically well again because he was in pretty bad shape when they found him, they reached out to us.
And now your journey with Trooper begins. What was it like meeting him for the first time? I'm sure after such, a scary time for Trooper himself, right? I mean, traumatic. Was there an adjustment period for him?
When they first contacted us, Amy, who runs the Humane Society, said to my wife, we're really excited to meet with you guys. We've been through 450 plus applications for Trooper, but we think that you guys are the right guys, but we have one really big concern. And my wife said, what is that? And they said, we don't think he'll get along with Frank. And my wife said, what's going on? They said, well, he's been so badly abused by a male that he recoils at the sight of any males. Snaps, recoils. So my wife had me call up there, and I said to Amy, I've been raising Bull Terriers, this breed only, since 1993. How about if I drive up to Tallahassee? It's 7.5 hours, but I'm going to drive up there and prove to you that he's not going to recoil from me. I've been doing this a long time. So they invited us up, and we actually went up, and that was my first meeting with Trooper in the backyard of the Humane Society.
Oh, and look at Trooper loving on you now. What a beautiful story, Frank. Talk to us about Trooper's Law. How does that feel, having this put into place and just knowing that there's more protections for pets and beautiful dogs like Trooper?
Yeah. Well, he was terribly abused. And the person who abused him is currently facing trial. So the law at the time when he was arrested did not include the restraining of a dog during a natural disaster. Luckily, or unluckily, I should say, he had abused Trooper so badly that he was actually charged under a different provision of the law, which is aggravated animal abuse. So the law as it stood at the time covered him because he had tortured this dog. However, for people who believe that they're going to just abandon their dog, leave them behind during a storm, tie him to a pole, throw him out of their car, tie him on the side of the road, this law fills that gap. And that is now a felony in the state of Florida, to abandon and restrain your dog during a disaster. Just that alone is now a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. So I think that was a gap that needed to be filled. Back in March, and I was first contacted by the president of the Florida Humane Society, she said that we've been trying to get this bill through the Florida legislature for years, and we could never get traction on it. Nobody really listened, nobody really cared. Mm-hmm. But with Trooper, everybody all of a sudden took notice, and the legislature took notice. And luckily, our governor, Ron DeSantis, and his wife, Casey, took notice. And they really became big proponents of pushing Trooper's bill. So my thoughts and thanks to them and to the legislature who came around and decided that this was an important bill for the state of Florida.
Absolutely. And what a blessing for Trooper and for you and for many of the pets across the state of Florida.
Yes.
John, how is Trooper over the course of this last year? I mean, of course, you speak of the abuse before, but since Milton, I mean, just going through a hurricane like that, and that had to have been traumatic. So has Trooper really, I guess, been able to get through some of that trauma?
Yeah, he had been subject to both physical and mental abuse even before Milton. When I received him, he had cancer. He had 2 large tumors on his left flank. He had to have a cancer surgery. He also had to have an endoscopy because he had 2.1 pounds of plastic, metal, rubber, and material in his belly. According to the vet, it was a result of being starved to close to death. He had no nails in his front paws. According to the vet, it was because he was digging, trying to escape from his captor. Oh. So that's the condition I received him in. He obviously had some physical. We got through all the physical pretty easy with great doctors in South Florida. The mental, there was a time period where he was still flinching and jumping with loud noises and things like that. However, as you can see now, it seems to be behind him. It's been almost a year. It's been over 10 months, and he seems to have put all that behind him now. He knows he's in really, really good hands with me and my wife, and I think that he knows that there's no chance of anything like that happening.
John, really, what a beautiful story. A trooper, absolutely, and just such a shining light to continue to protect our pets and our animals in the times of natural disasters and beyond. So, John Spina, we appreciate you. Trooper, we appreciate you coming on to Fox Weather and continuing to reflect and share the story.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.